Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Communities Live here on Sheffield Line 93.2 FM. And we have Chief Executive of the Association of Optometrists, Adam, Adam Sampson. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, that was quite a mouthful, me.
No. Look, optometrists, what that means is it's the technical medical term for opticians, really. They're the people who do your sight tests in your high street opticians. That's all.
So, and I mean, I've read this report. I mean, one in four are concerned about someone who they know are driving with poor vision, and I mean, that's quite shocking. One in four people. That is a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's if you think about how many of us, I've got an 88-year-old mum. Now, fortunately, her vision's good enough to drive, although there are conversations about, whether her reactions are up to it and so on and so forth. So
Mm.
this is fairly common. When you do have elderly relatives or you have people who might have other medical problems, including eyesight problems, this is normal stuff. You do worry about them. Now, of course, you worry about them because they're your relatives and they're the ones who are getting behind the wheel of the car. But at the same time, we need to be worrying about the other drivers on the roads and the pedestrians who are also at their mercy. And what we are seeing is an increasing number of cases where people are literally getting behind the wheel of a car who cannot see properly, well enough to drive.
Yeah.
Um, the reason they're able to get away with that is because the law in this area, which dates from before the Second World War, 1937, has never been changed since. And it just allows people to say to the DVLA, "Oh no, me, I can see I can see well enough to drive, promise," and doesn't require them to produce any evidence at all to verify that fact.
I mean, yeah, like you say, I mean, it's quite staggering. It's quite staggering what you just revealed there about the law's not changed for that. I mean, but I mean, a lot of people. I mean, there's also all different types of eye problems as well. I mean, you got like long sightedness, short sightedness, glaucoma, amongst many others. And I mean, and a lot of people don't realize that a change in their eyesight, do they? Until the last minute, and like you say, until they're driving or unfortunately have an accident or something like that.
Well, that's exactly right. We're not blaming people for this, although I mean, it has to be said, our members do report seeing, the majority of our members see at least one person a month who walks out of, who they say to, in the opticians, "Look, you're below the legal standard for driving, so you really shouldn't be driving,"
Yeah,
who walk out saying, "Well, I'm going to drive anyway." So there are some people who drive, knowing what the situation is. But for most of us, we simply don't realize that our eyesight's getting worse. It just creeps up on you. Now, my confession, I'm 64 years old. I know that at 17, when I took my driving test, I had sufficiently good eyesight to drive because I passed that thing that you do about reading.
mm.
If you remember, you read a number plate in the car park on the way to your driving test. That's the last time anybody in authority actually asked me to prove whether my sight is good enough to drive. Now, if it hadn't been for the fact that I know I need to get my eyes checked every couple of years for health reasons, if for no other reasons, then I wouldn't necessarily have picked up that my sight's got worse and I now need
Yeah.
glasses to drive. If I hadn't been going to the opticians regularly, I wouldn't known that. I'd have probably carried on driving anyway, not really being able to see properly and being a danger. It is because I went to the opticians on a regular basis because the optician then managed to find me a pair of glasses to make my driving proper, vision proper so that I could drive. That's why I'm still safe to drive. If you don't have anything that forces you or requires you to go and get your sight tested, you
Mm.
simply won't, and you won't realize you're not safe.
I don't drive, and I've been wearing glasses for about the past 20 years, and I mean, I've noticed a change in my sight when I was at school as well, and it took me I mean, I couldn't think why my sight had changed at the time, and it took me a while to realise that I needed to go to the opticians. So I think, and when we announced that I was short sighted, and eventually I ended up with glasses as well. But I mean, but like you say, it's such a common thing, but a lot of people don't get checked out. And so, I mean, what can we do more to get people to get checked
Well,
out?
I mean, the at the moment, with the law being as it is, all we can do is to put pressure on our friends and family to go and get their eyes checked. And as I said, getting your eyes checked is not just about whether your eyesight's up to it. Getting your eyes checked is also about a health check because, as I said to you, the difference between optometrists, why they're called optometrists, is because this is a 4 years master's clinical medical degree that specializes in the health of the eye and beyond. So when you
Yeah,
go to your optician, it's not just getting your eyesight test. They're actually looking at things at the blood vessels at the back of the eye. Is there any evidence, not just of things like glaucoma or cataracts, which might threaten your eyesight, but is there evidence of diabetes, hypertension,
yeah,
tumors? That's the stuff they're checking for. So there's good reasons to go to the opticians anyway. Um, so I think when you're dealing with somebody who you think maybe can't see well enough to drive, persuade them to go and see the optician as much for their health as anything else. What we do need, though, is we need a change in the law. As I've said, the law dates from 1937. It just says because you once were seen by a driving instructor to be able to read a number plate when you were 17, that's okay for the rest of your life. All we've got to do is ask you just to verify, self-certify you're good enough, you can see well enough. That's not good enough.
yeah.
Let's require people when they renew their driving license, at least to say, and here's a piece of evidence to show that I can see properly. And because I've had a sight test from my optician recently, that's all it takes. It's not big. It's not expensive. It's not complicated. It won't make opticians any money, by the way, but it will significantly improve public safety.
And it also saves a lot of lives as well, like you said. I mean, it's such a massive thing. And I think, like you, and I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. We definitely need a change in the law. And I mean, hopefully, do you think the government should take note about something like this?
We're hopeful, but when we've raised this in the past, governments have said, oh, well, that we have no plans. It's that wonderful civil service phrase, we have no plans. What
Yes.
that means is we haven't got round to it. There's not enough of a public clamour to make it happen. Dee-dum, dee-dum, dee-dum. Actually, this one's really simple. It's not going to cost. It would be really, really quick and easy to do. So all we need to do as a general public is to make a bit of a fuss, to make our MPs listen, to put pressure on the government. This one is winnable and winnable fairly quickly,
Yes.
but we've got to get public attention on the issue.
Well, let's hope that's the first steps of let's hope we can get something moving on this. I mean, because like you say, it's very important because I mean your eyesight's important, health and safety is important, and hopefully we can get something along the lines to get this moving. But I mean, to our listeners at home, because if they have problems with their eyesight, I mean, what would you advise them to do? I mean, other than go and see the opticians, what would you advise?
Well, genuinely, the first thing is go and see the optician, and if they're worried about cost, don't, because certainly all young people, all people over the age of 60, and all people who are on benefits or anything like that will be entitled to free sight tests anyway. So go and see your high street optician, get your eyes checked, have a conversation with them, and take it from there.
And also, I mean, for anybody that is concerned for the person, either the person next door or a family or friend, is there any information that people can find where we can help out?
Well, you can certainly go on the AOP website, which is www.aop.org.uk, which will have a range of information. DVLA unfortunately doesn't have a lot of information, but there's some in there as well. I mean, the best thing to do is to have a conversation with people, to be honest with you, and
Yeah,
highlight the risks. Nobody wants to be responsible for causing an accident that somebody loses their lives in,
of
and
course.
unfortunately, that's what happens. I mean, I'm currently dealing with a request from a coroner who's dealing with two cases where drivers who can't see properly have caused deaths. We see this the whole time. This is not just a question of theory. This actually happens.
Yeah.
These are people who lose their lives. This is quite urgent to sort.
It is. I mean, that's absolutely shocking. I'm sorry to hear that, Adam. I mean, I'm really sorry about it. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully we can get this out, and hopefully it be the first stepping stones in hopefully getting this changed.
Well, absolutely, and what will be critical to this is that it is your MP. So if you are interested in this and you do think the law needs to change, please petition your MP. That's what we're doing today on behalf of the AOP. But to be honest with you, getting the laws changed isn't necessarily something that people like organisations like us will do. Politicians will look at people like us with some degree of suspicion, and quite right too.
Yeah.
What they will listen to is their own constituents.
I mean, I've got a message to my listeners about this as well. I mean, if you are suffering from this or you know somebody who is struggling with eyesight, please share this because this is too important. And it's also, if you want, and it's also saving people's lives. Please, let's get this out there. Let's share this. Let's make this an important topic because it's definitely important. We're saving lives. Let's get this out there, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to give a final word to you, Adam. Please tell us what would you like to say to our listeners.
Please, Chris, I couldn't put it any more eloquently than you've done. That's why you're in your job and I'm in mine. That's exactly right. This is a matter of life and death. To some people, it's a really simple change. We can get it done, but only if we work together to do it.
Adam, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time, mate.
Great pleasure, mate.